Buffalo Bills fans are desperate to see their team go all the way. The Bills have been knocking on the door for 2 years now, and they've got talent all over the place. Talent up the yin-yang for every position, both sides of the ball. They've got the all-world quarterback, Josh Allen. Many been in denial for a few years, but that's kind of ending, especially after the performance he had, amazing performance he had against Kansas City last year in the playoff and divisional round. Excellent head coach and staff, excellent GM, great owner to pull all this thing together. And so knocking on the door isn't good enough for the fan base. And really, when you got this kind of talent, it really doesn't come around too often. Getting that brass ring is really what it's all about. Now, the Bills are odds-on favorite to win the AFC East, one of the top 3-4 teams, maybe 2-3 teams to really win the conference, go all the way. And I think it's fair. I'm a Dolphins fan, and I'd like to say it's not. You know, I want my team to be in that discussion, go all the way. We'll see how that plays out. I hope it plays out well. Hold tight. You know, but the Bills, to me, if they can get a run game going, I've been covering them for a year and a half now, and I've never watched another team from beginning to end. I watched every Bills game from week one all the way to the playoffs. That's never happened in my 42 years. It's always been the Dolphins or nothing else. So I really am invested in the team as a fan of the sport, fan of the art, and I'm a big fan of Josh Allen, both as the person and as the talent. And it was the run game that it was always something that I was focused on going into last year. Watching all these games really became extra focus. And then in this offseason, again, I've dialed it up to 11, like Spinal Tap said in their old movie, if you know what I'm talking about, you're old. Anyway, the run game is critical for the Bills. And I'm not saying they're going to go to a run-heavy offense. I mean, I've done some podcasts on this, and some fans are like, I'm not saying I run heavy. Josh Allen's still a machine. He's the engine that drives the machine. It's always going to be that way. But when you really look at it objectively, a balanced attack is beneficial for so many reasons. Now, Allen, the abuse he took last year was unconscionable. I really don't like Brian Dable for what he did to Allen. I thought it was gross and disgusting, the abuse this kid took. I mean, he's built like a tank, but this kid is an elite and rare talent that you need to handle with care. And I didn't see that last year. It was just unbelievable how this kid had to play all season and then into the playoffs. And there's no way that could last. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's still human. He's not superhuman. So protecting Allen, drawing attention away from Allen. I mean, just think about it. You're a defense, and you got this guy who can throw deep. He can escape the pocket. He can escape the pocket to run or throw. You've got everything focused on this guy. Now, if you add a run game in, this is so nerve-wracking for a defense. Immediately, when Josh Allen's there, you got to protect the edges because this guy is quick enough to get out there and hurt you bad on the ground. You've got to protect the deep pass. You got to protect the underneath because you can get it out quick with the high velocity. You add a run game that forces them to have to teacup to protect the interior. Now you're in trouble. You are in so much trouble, especially when you're dealing with play action. These safeties creeping up, these linebackers creeping up to deal with the run game that's not just superficial, that's really serious about hurting you and making you stop them. This is going to open up things for Allen. Last year, so many times they just play shell, they play over, they keep everything in front. They knew it was going to be Allen, Allen, Allen. He's going to run it, he's going to throw it. Whatever it is, it's going to be him. But less is more with this kid. And the run game is going to help you. My friend, just want to say this too, my friend over at Mafia Sports Report, Tommy. We're starting to do shows together. It's a great Bills channel. You should check him out. We're going to do a show every once in a while, maybe be more consistent with it. This Friday, we're going to, like 9 o'clock or something, we're going to talk about the AFC and AFC East and all that stuff. So check him out. But even if you don't check that out, if you're a Bills fan, you should check out his channel. He's a great guy and great channel. And he had a very cogent point that the run game, that the Bills were not built to take advantage of their home field advantage. The Patriots came in and were. And the additions of Saffold, the additions of Quisenberry and Cromer, and it's really clear that the Bills are going to take advantage of all the assets that a balanced attack and running backs rushing the football will bring for this team. Now, run games are critical for defenses too, time of possession. Now, you guys are really good in time of possession, but let's look at the rushing attack you had last year. 6th in the league, 2,209. Sounds great. When you strip out Allen's 122 rushes and 763 yards, you fall to 31st and 30th. There's no way that this elite talent you got at quarterback should be the bull to drive your rushing attack. It's madness. One injury alters this kid's season, alters the team's season, and sadly, it could alter his career to the negative, and that shouldn't be. I'm a Dolphins fan. I want my team to win, but there's no way in hell I want to see a kid this good, both as a person and a talent, ground up. Dable pissed me off last year because you don't get people and talent like this together and then you're going to abuse it like that. This kid needs to be taken care of. He can have a long career. With that body, he could be running like this into his early 30s. And then he'll have the mind to even continue to, here and there until his late 30s. This kid could have an all-world career. But you got to protect him. You can't grind him up like last year. And I'm very clear. I'm not a Bills fan, and you guys are Bills fans know more than me, but I'm very clear that Bean and McDermott are clear on this. So you are 7th in first downs. Sounds great. Strip out Allen's 64 first downs, and you fall to 30th. I mean, I was watching, I was trying to find film for Singletary, so I watched the KC game because the playoff game, because it's an unbelievable game. So I just watched, and I just couldn't believe how bad the play calling and the game plan was. It was pathetic. There was one, I don't know how many plays I could see. Allen just got done running. He has to run back to the line of scrimmage. He's got to go play. He's got to get up to the line of scrimmage. He's in the shotgun. He's like, and then he's got to throw the football or run again. That's madness. That is madness. Again, I want my Fins to win, but as a fan of the game, this is just, it can't be, and it can't continue, and it won't. So I want to talk about Devin Singletary. I did AFC East running back analytics, and some Bills fans were like, what about Singletary? And I should have said in the podcast, but I get up here and a thing goes on and mean to say things and I forget, Singletary, I was going to give him his own little thing because he's a big player to me as far as the puzzle of the AFC East. When you look at his season, it was really good. And I think this guy can step up. I'm not saying he's going to be, Walter Payton 2.0 or anything, but he had a good season. He was very effective. And I think because of a lot of things involved, he's going to be even more effective and play a big part to how the AFC East shapes up. Now, he's 5'7", 203. For me, that prototype is the prototype. When I was doing my little thing in junior college as a running back, I would just go on a treadmill and I'd watch Barry in super slow-mo. I loved Barry Sanders, 5'8", 203. There's nothing, I'm not saying they're the same, but I like that prototype. I like the little guy, the little stocky guy, maybe because that's, I was short and stocky too. So, but I think it's a very effective prototype. And he's not built like Barry. Barry had the giant thighs, much lower body fat, less upper body mass. This guy's built well, though. He is. This guy at 5'7", 203 is a little bit of a tank. Now, he had 188 carries, which was 19th. Not bad. His yards, 870, which was 16th. It's amazing that 870 yards is 16th in the NFL. I'm so old. That would have been like 20-something, There was the age of all the top running backs getting, 12, 13, 14. Not anymore. But anyway. First downs, he had 44, which was 23rd, was not bad for a part-time role. His yards per carry were 4.6, is pretty good, considering. And this is the considering part. I want to get into two stats that I really am intrigued with. I'm trying to understand them more. They work in synergy with each other. Is yards before contact, yards after contact. I talk about it all the time. I'm not going to get into a big thing. You can check some other podcasts where I talk about it. Yards before contact is such an interesting stat. It talks about how far the offensive line blows the defender off the ball. And as you get deeper and deeper and deeper, obviously because you're getting into the first half of the box, and then you get to the second half of the box, the farther you go, and then eventually get into the secondary, guys get smaller. And so breaking contact becomes easy because the sizes are more equal. I mean, obviously a lot of these smaller guys are better tacklers, except for the corners. But as far as the linebackers compared to D linemen, but still, 320-pound guy is very difficult to break, whether he can do form or not. So at around 2.5 yards before contact, you really start seeing a lot of linebackers and secondary. And this helps guys break tackles. So when you look at the yards before contact, it helps you understand the yards after contact. Look last year, Najee Harris had 1.7 yards before contact, but he had like 2.1 or 2.2 after contact. This guy was breaking tackles all day long of defensive linemen and ends and, edge players and linebackers, all the time. And so really that balloons the 2.1 to make it more valuable. Now, the Buffalo Bills had 2.6 yards before contact, but if you pull Allen out, it goes down to 2.3, which is a little subpar. Not terrible, but subpar. It had them ranking 20th to like 26th in the league. But the nice part is that Singletary, despite being small and kind of seeing a little bit of bigger guys up front and having to make more moves early, had 2.3 yards after contact. And that had him tied for 11th, actually 9th through 13th. And he had him in company of Javonte Williams, Aaron Jones, some really good running backs in that group. So he had a very good season. And when you look, it's rare to see running backs equal or surpass the yards before contact, to surpass it or equal it with yards after contact. And the 2.3 equal to 2.3, and it was very, very good. And this is why I say this guy, when you got Saffold next to Dawkins and you got Brown over there as a good run blocker next to Quisenberry, and you got Gillum in the back, when you see 21 personnel with two backs, running back, fullback, and a tight end, and you get greater depth, the smaller, maneuverable Singletary is going to be able to break more tackles and to have more effect. I can see this guy going to the low fives as far as yards per carry this season. Now, his break tackle percentage was every 14.5 tackles, he would break one, which ranked him 27th. It's not great, but Derrick Henry was lower down on that rank. Dalvin Cook was lower on that rank. Joe Mixon, James Robinson. So this guy was still doing pretty good for a small fry, and the yards before contact wasn't hot. This guy, I think, has a lot of room to grow. And Moss, Duke, Cook, Singletary, they're going to be a soup. I mean, some Bills fans I see in the comments don't think they're going to keep all of them, but I do. Somehow they're going to have to find a way to keep these backs, because if Singletary goes down, you can't rely on Cook or Duke. So I think Singletary is going to play the foundation of this running game, and it's going to really possibly carry you guys to the finish line. Hope not. I do think the AFC East is really about the run game being balanced, see an arms race going on in the AFC East. And I think you guys are bringing some potent weaponry. And again, this could be the piece to take you over the top. Only if it was my Dolphins. We'll see. Anyway. Screw. So Singletary is going to be the engine to drive all these pieces. And the run game, I think, is going to be the piece to finally take the Bills over the top and be the thing to stabilize this team, good weather and bad. Draw focus off Allen so then he can have greater impact. I hope it don't work for you guys. I hope my team is, my Dolphins lead the AFC East and take the conference and go to Super Bowl instead of you guys, but we'll see. Anyway, this is Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, subscribe. Comments mean the most. Really do. I really appreciate comments. Helps me learn, especially when it's fans of other teams. Subscribes and likes help us with the Google Overlord. It helps me continue to get paid to do this so I can study football for a living, which I like. So I'm grateful for all you commenters and viewers and subscribes and likes and all that other stuff. You guys have really taken care of me. I appreciate that. It's Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. Catch you next time and be well. Bookies can earn hundreds to thousands of dollars from booking action with aceperhead.com.